Today is day 9. Let's see what we have covered yesterday first. We have covered provisioners yesterday. We have seen what are provisioners, why provisioners are last resort, type of provisioners in Terraform like local execute, remote execute, and file provisioners. And we have done the labs on that. So that is what we have done yesterday. Today is entirely a new topic, resource meta argument. Yeah, as part of this um, topic, we'll be covering count for each depends on. So how these meta arguments work, and we'll be doing lab on these three. Life cycle is also part of meta arguments, but we'll be covering that tomorrow. And we'll be covering dynamic blocks also tomorrow. So tomorrow is the last day of this series. Some theory before we go ahead and do the labs. So let's see what are meta arguments. Meta arguments are special arguments supported by Terraform resource that change how resources are created and managed. Change how resources are created and managed, and not what is created. So it has nothing to do with what is getting created. So it will just change how resources are created and managed. So it involve in that part. So they help control number of resources. How many number of resources you want to create? You can that helps control that part. And resource relationship, how the relay how each resource creation is related, that part it controls. And creation and destruction behavior also it will control. We'll see that in detail during the lab. So these are the three features of meta arguments. So common resource meta arguments. Inside meta arguments, you can see there are 5 of them listed. The first one is count, second is for each, third depends on, life cycle, and provider. Provider is something which we have already seen before. What is a provider? Why do we use provider? And okay, for today we'll be covering these three. So count, first begin with count. What is count? Count creates multiple instances of the same resource. It creates multiple instances of the same resources using a numeric index. So this one is important, numeric index. What is this? First is, how do you declare this count? So this is the syntax. You give the resource block and a type of resource and name of the resource block. Then you mention like this, count equal to number. Like here in this example below, I'm trying to create a resource group. Okay, resource group, and count is 3. That means using this single block, I am creating 3 resource groups. Okay, if I want to create without using count, I have to declare this block 3 times. So, but now using count, I'm reducing the number of blocks, and code looks easy, and it looks good in short form. Okay, and this is how you declare count equal to 3. And how the name of the resource groups get created. Here you see this is part of the string of the name. Okay, and this one is what is getting changed in each resource group name. The count.index is something which we are using as part of this count. Count.index starts from 0. So I declared 3. That means it will create 3 indexes. Okay, 0, 1, 2. So the first one, 0, will sit here when it creates the first resource. Second time, it creates a second resource with index 1. And third time, it creates 2. So resources are addressed like this. So Azure RM resource group dot RG, the first index is 0. That means it will point to the first resource group. So here the index changes, and similarly, the resource group name also changes. Changing count may destroy and recreate resources. This is not recommended. You know, it is important when you are using count, you should be very sure, okay, I need these number of resources, like 2 resources I need, like 4 resources I need. So you are very sure that about the number of resources you need. So if you change the number of resources, like first time I declared three, then I don't want three, I want only one. So it will delete and recreate even the existing one. So this might happen. So just be little cautious when you are using count. When to use the count? Simple identical resources when you want to create, you can use this. Like if you see here, I want to create a resource groups, identical resources. All are resource groups only. Even the name looks somewhat similar only. Like a count -rg1, rg0, then count -rg1, count -rg2. So simple and identical resources is the first point. The second one is fixed number of resources. As I just mentioned earlier, when you are sure about number of resources, then you go ahead and use this. When not to use? When resources need stable names is the first point. When frequent add or remove is expected. So when resources need stable names, uh, so in that case, you don't go with this one. Like something in the organizations also, you will have some nomenclature where you don't want to use the index 0, 1 or like that. So in that case, you don't go with this. When frequent add or remove is expected, also you don't go with this. So this is about count. I'll show you the lab after I complete for each and depends on theory. For each is the second meta argument which we use. What is this for each? For each creates resources using keys from a map or set, makes it safer and predictable. For each is something which is like a conditioner, which we have. I think if you have done any courses on scripting or coding, right? For each is one of the condition. Okay, it goes like a loop, one after other. Here also it goes in that way, and it takes only two inputs. One is a map and set. Map is like a hash table. It will have a key and value pair, and set is nothing but like an array. It will have a list of resources, and set will not have a duplicates. Like for example, set is having dev, test, stage, prod, and if you are repeating one of the environment name again like dev, so it won't take the fifth one. It says only four environments are there, so it filters out that. So for each we'll take two inputs, maps and set, and making it safer and predictable. How do you declare? We declare it like this: for each equal to map or set. So this is it could be a hash table, or hash table is map and set is a list array. Each dot key, how do you declare it? Each dot key, each dot value, resource identifier and resource value. So I will show it to you in the lab how this is declared. Clearly, you will understand. Basically, as of for now, you understand there will be a key and value, and the key will be declared as each dot key, and value is declared as each dot value. And resources are addressed as below. So same like count. Here we were giving index number like 0, but here we are giving the key here. So the resources are addressed here like this. When to use environment-based resources. When you are creating environment-based resources, you go ahead and use for each. Even for the production infrastructure, you can use this. When resources must not shift. In that case also, you can go ahead and use it. Best practice is prefer for each over count in real projects. Prefer for each over count in real project. What is the difference between count and for each? The feature like uses index. So count will have the index like 0, 1, 2, but for each, it won't support that. Uses keys. Count doesn't have any keys, but for each will have the key. And save deletion. No, it is risky when you are changing the number of count. It is a little risky. And for each, it is safe. You can delete. And production ready. it is limited. Sometimes you may come across some of the issues, so better to go with for each. That's why the best practice here we mentioned that prefer for each or count in real projects. And also we have seen where to use, when to use count and when to use for each. So this is the major difference between count versus for each. Depends on is the third meta argument, which we are going to cover. What is this depends on? This will force Terraform to create or destroy resource in a specific order. Like one is uh, one is having dependency with two. Then two should be created first. Then it should go ahead and create the first one, first resource. So we'll mention depends on number two. So that's how we can declare and you know order it. The two is getting created first, then it is going to first. And why needed? Terraform usually detects dependencies automatically. Remember this, Terraform usually detects dependencies automatically, but not always. Few times you have to explicitly mention, okay, this is dependent on this. Okay, here in this example, if you see, this is a storage account block. In this resource block, we are trying to create a storage account, Azure storage account. And I gave the name, I gave the resource group, location, account type, all the details, all the inputs which are needed to create storage account. But if you see resource group name, it needs a resource group name. It is dependent on a resource group. It is dependent on resource group location. So basically, this storage account has some dependency with resource group. So that's why we are making sure and explicitly mentioning depends on Azure resource group.rg. Common use cases, you can use this depends on while role assignments, policy assignments, provisioners, module dependencies. All these are something when you are trying to create resources or assigning roles. You find that there is a dependency on something. You go ahead and declare depends on, um, like how we declared here. This is a common use case. Some important points which you can remember between these three meta arguments. Count is basically towards new, it's basically a numeric one, 0, 1, 2. Indexing is there. And it is simple how you can to declare count, but it is little risky when you are using. For each is a key based one. You find a key value pairs and it is safe and it is a preferred method in Terraform. Depends on explicit ordering. Terraform automatically detects ordering, but few times it may not detect. So during that time, if you identify during the deployment that it is not detecting, then you go ahead and explicitly mention this depends on. So this one we have seen for each in production. So this is about count for each depends on. Let's do some labs and then we go ahead with Q&A. Okay. Let's see how these three will exactly work. Okay, this is the lab. 09 meta arguments. I created one folder. Inside that, you see three folders again: 01 count, 02 for each, and third depends on. First, we'll go ahead and do 01 count. You see here, I have declared one resource group and resource group name var count equal to var dot rg underscore count. And here the index is declared like this: count dot index var dot location. So these are declared as variables. Where can I find them? Inside variables.tf. This is rg count 3. Variable location is this. Now one question. If I go ahead and run this, what will be the names of the resource groups? and how many resource group will get created.
So group name will be something like count hyphen
Mhm.
rg1, rg2, or etc. How many resources means
It's three.
three.
Okay. Any other try about the names? Resource group count is correct, three. But the names, I need, I think one and two is correct, but there is one more. What is that? There
Zero.
are
I
zero.
mean
Yeah,
count hyphen rg hyphen.
yeah, it starts with zero, not with one. It starts with zero, then count hyphen rg0, count hyphen rg1, count hyphen rg2. Number of resources, rg count is three, so which we declared here. So it will
Okay.
create three resource groups, and names will be like that.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and run. The first command we regularly run is Terraform init. Next is Terraform. Let's run Terraform plan and see what it does. Plan, you see three to add, zero to change, zero to destroy. And you also give, um, see this, RG0. This is the indexing of the first one. And second one, third one. This is the indexing of that. And even if you see the name, it is count RG0, count RG1, count RG2. If I go ahead and apply this, it will go ahead and create these three resource groups, 0, 1, 2. Let me run it. Terraform apply when auto. So the simple takeaways from this is that the count, whenever you are using count, one one rule you should understand is I see a count here. That means inside this block, I'm trying to create these many resources. Three resources I want to create. And second thing is you need to go ahead and check where did I declare count.index. That will help. Okay, if you declare five here, right, that will start from zero and there won't be number five. It will end at four. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So here you will understand, okay, I am creating this number of resources. Index, okay, here I have count 5. I will be having count.index as 0 to 4. I'll go back and check this command got completed and I'll go back and check refresh. You see these three resource groups are created. I'll go back and I will destroy so that I can create another lab for each Terraform destroyed. So once you are while you are practicing, also make sure you are deleting the resources after you create, clean up everything. So this is about count. Any questions on count? I take it as
No, we
no.
are good. Yeah, we are
No,
good.
Ramesh. But as part of practicing at my end, Ramesh, like how to get a free account.
Free account in Azure, right? One is it will give you a 30 days trial. You might be aware. But if you have already used and used the same credit card, right, it won't allow you. If you are using a new credit card, then you can go ahead and create one free account in Azure. Then you will be able to do the labs for 30 days. Right now, I'm using a pay as you go, but
Okay.
um, I create and I immediately delete.
How much it will be billed for you on an average per month?
Last month I paid 2,100, and that is also more because one day I forgot to delete, and
Oh, okay.
so I created a VM, I forgot to delete, then I deleted after 1 or 2 days.
Uh-huh. Got
Yeah,
it.
it if you are cautious, you are just doing labs, creating and immediately deleting them, it will be below 1,000 or 2,000.
Got it. Thank you.
And if you use pay as you go, right, you will also
Mhm.
see how the billing is happening,
Uh-huh.
right? You get to know uh, few other things, and you will be cautious about billing, which is good
Uh-huh.
as you are working in real time, right?
Yes, yes.
A free account means will not bother about that because they will give you some 100 or
Credit.
$150, yeah, credit, right? So
Yeah.
we don't bother. We just go ahead and create, and simply we delete whenever we want.
Right, right. Got it.
Good to have one pay as you go account. And that's
Sure.
I mean, if you are think that you are paying for learning 1,000 or
Mhm.
2,000.
Mhm.
And I have this pay as you go account from last almost a year. I just paid only 2 months because all other months it was zero.
Oh, because you created and deleted again. I mean, immediately.
No resources were there. You just make sure there are no resource groups.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah,
And
network
if there is
watch.
any,
Hmm.
yeah, sorry to interrupt you. If there is any, for example, there is any resource created and forgot you got very high billing, you can just request them for one time. They can avoid the billing, avoid that billing. Not
Yeah,
repeatedly, but they can excuse one single time.
yeah. And few of them suggested me that now that I'm using that Azure account for trainings, right?
Mm.
So they said that I can go ahead and project them my YouTube channel
Mm.
and request a few credits every month. That
Correct.
I did not try, but I
Mm.
got that suggestion from few of them.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
you can try the free account for first 1 month. Then if you don't see any other option, go ahead with pay as you
Mhm.
go.
Yeah, got it, Ramesh.
Yeah. Okay, we'll do the second lab that is for each. Um, I'm navigating to 02 for each folder. Let's see what we have inside this folder. I have main.tf file, then providers, variables.tf. Okay, first let's see main.tf. This is, oh, we have declared one resource, and now we are trying to create a resource group. And here for each equal to var.resource groups. So I have declared one variable resource group. Let's see what it is. So this is the variable, and it is a map. So map is nothing but a hash table. It will have the key value pairs. The key is dev, value is this, key is dev, and value is this, key is dev, and value is this. So basically, I see an environment name and the location. So how I can use it? This is the key, each dot key, and each dot value. So as we have seen in variables.tf, this is the location, right? Values are locations. So location equal to each dot value. Okay, that looks good. And it will go in a loop for each one of them. I have one, two, three of them. The count is three here. So three of them it will loop. First, it will go for this one. Then second, it will go for this one. Third, it will go and do for this one. And the values taken will be like that only, one after other. And each dot key you see here, it is part of my resource group name. This is my org name, and I declared it like this. Just a second. So this will take the key from my resource group variable, the map which I declared. And -rg is a standard string which will get attached to my resource group name. Okay, the keys are dev, QA, prod. Let me go ahead and initiate and see what plan will show. Terraform init, then Terraform plan. Okay, you see here it says plan 3 to add, 0 to change. The first one is coming out like this, Azure resource group.rg, and this is the key. So as mentioned earlier, so the output will be coming out like this. Dev will be created. And what is the name? Techlines-dev-rg. So this is coming out like this. And the second resource is a prod resource group, and it is creating a techlines-prod rg and the QA West US. And you also see here the location is also changing. So the first one, when it is picking dev, it is picking the value as East US here, dev and East US. And for QA, West US, so you see here, this is the QA resource group and the location is West US and prod Central US. So this is how you can declare for each. And when you are declaring for each, you mention it inside the resource group like this. Then how do you use the key values is by declaring each dot key, each dot value. So this is how you can declare the keys and values when you are using for each. Let me go ahead and run this Terraform. Apply. So it says apply completed, resources 3 added, 0 changed, 0 destroyed. Let's check in our Azure portal. So these are something which we did it in the last lab, but we deleted them. Let me refresh. So those are gone, and I see the one which I just created using for each. This is the dev resource group, prod and QA resource group. Any questions on this for each on this lab? Uh, Okay, let me ask you a few questions. And how do you declare a value or a key in a resource group? Like you are trying to create a resource. So this is my variable, which I declared. I want to use for each. I want to create, so the same lab, right? Here I declared it like this. How did we declare the key and value? Like the location I have declared, right? How did I declare that?
To render the resource groups you are talking, right? To
Location.
mm,
So I created a resource block, right? Inside my main.tf. How did I declare the location attribute inside that? Location equal to I mentioned something.
right. Okay. Using resource group variable resource group name, the default value.
Hmm.
When we loop it through the resource group name, default values. So the dev and QA and production, they got rendered.
Yeah, so I want to render dev.
Mm.
How did
This
I declare dev?
resource
Map
group dot dev.
using map type.
Okay, suppose like a resource I declared, and this is Azure RM resource group. Okay, and this is RG100, just a simple name. I'm asking how I can use this. Like I will have the name, right? Name something, location as something. How did I declare that?
We need to give map type.
Map type. Think of two things we need to do. One, we need to do for each first, right?
For each
Okay,
Yeah,
here.
then I would say var dot resource groups.
resource groups.
Then I will say location as each that value. So this is what I was asking. How do you declare location when you are using for each? So each dot value is what how we will declare. And in the name also, how do you declare each dot key? If I want to use, and how we declared earlier is something like this because it is a combination of few strings. I declared it like tech lines is the org name hyphen. I kept it like this hyphen RG. I think this should be this one, clear brackets. So this is what I was asking. Each dot value, each dot key is how you will declare. Now you render those values from here when you declare for each. Yeah, that was the question. Maybe I confused you people with not giving clarity on the question, but overall, this is what I was asking. Okay, any questions before we move ahead with the third argument? Okay, I take it as no. Let's begin with third one. Depends on. This is a very simple one. Um, Easy to understand also. There won't be many confusions. There are two things. One is implicit and explicit. Can anyone tell me what is implicit and what is explicit? Difference between implicit
Like
and explicit.
like by default, for example, I book a cab from one place to another place. By default, it will go to that destination. In some cases, I have to explicitly tell to the cab driver, I want even after booking.
Hmm.
That is like explicitly telling,
Okay.
externally telling.
Okay. Yeah. Correct. Anyone want to try?
Implicit means automatically detects there is a dependency. Explicit means we have to manually mention the dependency on
Correct.
which resource depend.
Yeah. Here in this lab, right, I'm showing you this one. How many resources I'm creating?
Two.
Okay, what are they?
Resource group. Depends RP is one resource group. Resource.
Storage account and resource group.
Okay. Is Terraform a intelligent tool that will understand that I need to create a resource group first, then a storage account after?
Most of the times, yes. Sometimes, no.
Yeah, that is correct. But in cases where I have a big project, I'm creating multiple resources and something it is getting failed because of some dependency. So during that time, what we do, we go ahead and explicitly mention, okay, this is dependent on this. So for this example, I have taken a storage account. Every resource you create in Azure, every resource you create in Azure must go and sit in resource group. That is a standard rule. I think you all are aware of that. So every resource group, uh, you know, every resource is dependent on resource group. As far as I know, here we don't need to implicitly, explicitly mention this. But as an example, I've just taken this. But you understand few times you have to declare them explicitly. Okay, like um, in VNet, if you are creating VNet, then subnet. In subnet also, I believe Terraform should be aware that it needs a VNet first. So that should go in and check. But few cases are there where I am creating like private endpoints, right? It doesn't know uh, to which one it has to pick, which VNet from which VNet it is picking the private endpoint, right? During that time, you can mention explicitly. So this is the VNet I am using. This from this VNet I need the IP. So that cases you can explicitly mention, okay, I need this. So anyhow, I just was trying to make you understand that here it is not required to mention because as far as I know, implicitly Terraform understand, okay, this storage account is dependent on this. But few cases are there where you have to explicitly declare. Okay, this one is the second block storage account where I have mentioned depends on equal to Azure RM resource group.rg. That means it is going ahead and waiting for this resource group to be created. Then only it will go ahead and start creating this storage account. Clear. I'll move to this folder, change directory 03, Terraform init. Terraform plan. This is plan 2 to add. So it is creating this storage account. It is creating all this. So this is the resource group creation and this is the storage account creation. So you don't see, I don't see anything related to depends on here in this plan for this inside the storage account. It just shows all the different things it is creating during the storage account creation. Okay, I will go ahead and apply this. by auto approve. So it is now creating the resource group. Meanwhile, this gets created. Let me ask you one question. There are 5 meta arguments which we have seen in the concepts. What are those 5? We have covered 3, right? What are the other 2? We have seen 5 meta arguments. You can name all the 5 and tell me what are those 2 which I did not cover today.
Count for each and depends was covered.
Yeah, count for each depends on are covered. There are other 2 meta arguments.
Yeah, I missed that first starting. Someone
Okay.
else did.
Okay. Shiva,
One is
Ashok, Mahindra.
provider is one. One
Yeah, provider is
and
one.
life
Correct.
cycle and life
Super.
cycle.
Life cycle. Provider is one
Yeah.
and life cycle. Provider which we have covered on day 1. Life cycle I will be covering tomorrow. So those are the 5 meta arguments. Okay, this is now created. Refresh depends on RG is created. So you see the storage account is created. I'll go ahead and clean this up. Any questions on depends on?
No, we are good, Ramesh.
Yeah, so I'll go back to the theory one and give you a quick summary. Today, what we have covered meta arguments. So we have seen how meta arguments, inside these meta arguments, we have seen for each, count, and depends on. And we have seen meta arguments, how meta arguments control Terraform behavior. We have seen count and for each manage resource quantity is something we have seen. Depends on manager's order. Choosing the right meta argument prevents state issues. So this is a quick summary points which I just listed. So overall, we have covered these 3. Tomorrow I'll be covering life cycle, and also we'll be seeing a um, dynamic block tomorrow. Okay, that is the plan, and tomorrow will be the last day. Okay, I have uploaded all these labs into this repository. You can go ahead and check. I think only Srinath has forked it. If you do not have a GitHub account, go ahead and create one. It is very important that everyone should have one GitHub repository. So this is the one which I created new. I have another repository also. In this, you can go and what you can do, you can fork. There will be an option to fork. I think you so you can go ahead and fork it so that it gets added to your repository.
Yeah, here you can see the fork.
Yeah, here you can
It's
once you
because
click.
it's already there, right? So it's disabled for you.
Yeah. Okay, that's it for the day. If there are no questions, I think we can close the call.
Ramesh, one
Yeah.
question, apart from this session, you said that you were build only zero for Azure, right? For last earlier months.
Yeah. Yes.
So when you create the resource, is it not being built at least for like 30 minutes or something like that? That resource will be there, right? When you're working on that?
Correct. So I have taken Azure classes last month. Okay.
Okay.
And before that also October and November mid I've taken. During those months I got a minimal bill because I was creating and deleting. Minimal bill you'll
Okay.
get if
Okay.
but
Okay.
before that I was not using it all. There were no
Oh.
resources, no resource groups. Only thing I
Mm.
was making sure that there are no resource groups. So that is
Okay.
one thing, right? If there are no
Yeah.
resource group means I am sure that there are no resources.
Yeah. Okay. So for example, today, we have like created three resource groups, right? So that was there at least for like 5 minutes or at least 2 minutes. So for that also, you will not get any billing when you immediately delete it. If you
Hmm.
go to
One
subscription.
is resource group, no charges.
Okay.
You create any resource groups, 100 of resource groups also. As far as I know, there won't be any charges because resource group is a logical, it helps you in logical grouping. You are not creating any resource which will actually consume any memory or anything. It is just bind everything together. So resource group,
Okay.
no charges. Even if you go and check inside this pricingcalculator.azure.com, right? You don't see anything on a resource group. You can check for VM, storage, key vault, everything, but resource group you won't be having. And
Correct. Correct.
if I show you my billing,
Just wanted to see.
this is somewhere around 500. Okay,
Okay.
just this is last month build.
Mm.
That is fine. I mean,
Yeah.
but if I show you cost analysis, I think
Yeah.
if I want to check for the month of July or something, I think I can go ahead and check from here. Let me try. Once this
Yeah.
opens, right, we can check October to November. Last 12 invoices.
No
Horrible.
cost reported. When was the subscription created?
I think it's more than a
1 year.
year. Yeah, more than a
Yes,
year.
okay. So maybe if there is zero billing also, or does it not show? Or something?
This is 99 rupees for October, September 226.
Okay. Okay.
I have one in GCP also. I just get
Oh,
zero billing every month.
oh, okay. Is it also like pay as you go only?
Yeah, pay as you go
Okay.
on GCP. But I don't have much expertise on GCP. I'm not using it all.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Got it. Yeah. Thanks, Ramesh.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you,
Okay, then
Ramesh.
happy Tuesday or Wednesday. Yeah, Tuesday.
Tuesday. Nice.
Okay, then bye.
Bye.
Yeah,
Bye
bye,
all.
Ramesh. Bye, everyone.